Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's version of the TravelMole COVID-19 interviews. Most of these have been conducted with people from technology companies or indeed people from overseas who are suffering at the moment. But today I'm delighted to have a man who's in charge of one of the UK's most popular tourism destinations. It's off the south coast of England. For those of you who are watching from overseas, it's called the Isle of Wight. And the man in charge of their tourism is Will Myles. Good morning, Will.
Good morning to you.
Will, what's the current state of tourism in the Isle of Wight? We had the announcements yesterday from the Prime Minister that all is good to go for with certain restrictions from July the 4th. Has that opened a floodgate of demand?
A lot of businesses here on the island were sitting waiting on that day, and it couldn't come, the 4th of July, it couldn't come quick enough for them because they had bookings in their system from the 4th of July and were ready to go. So the fact that it's been announced by the Prime Minister is really, really good news because they can now plan and ensure that their customers are going to have a great time. I know there's businesses all across the island that literally have no availability between now and October.
Well, that's very good in many respects. It's a little concerning in others, in that presumably the island will be so packed out, you'll be suffering from over-tourism between July the 4th and October.
I want to say there's a lot of businesses packed out with full for that. That's one part of it. There's a lot of others who have obviously had to close down, and their bookings are not quite as lavish as some. So there's certain sectors who are not probably performing as well. So the ones that are performing well are these self-catering properties which is glamping and geopods and things like that. So people where they can come and be within their own sort of bubble, whereas serviced accommodation, hotels and guest houses and B&Bs, they're not quite as full. So I think we will get a lot of people here, but new normal, as everybody talks about, is going to be on everybody's mind, and how they interact and how they go to restaurants or to attractions, because they'll be very, very different.
Have you had any, I'm sure you have, but had any conversations with White Link and Red Funnel about their bookings and where they're coming from in terms of between July and, say, October?
Well, as it stands, the car ferry companies, they're providing a lifeline link for the island, and their demand is at the moment is, it's everything is, there is space and capacity on all these ferries, and they'll operate a demand-based approach to how they increase that capacity on the up and coming months. But as I say, we're looking forward, and more services will come back on as and when that demand comes back into play.
So from now on, what sort of role does the Isle of Wight Tourist Board have? Are you just sort of more or less sitting back and assuming that your partners and your members are going to be doing their job in terms of making sure there's social distancing, making sure that everything's deep cleansed, yada, yada, yada? Or are you actually playing a more active role in making sure that certain rules and regulations are going to take place?
Well, we from the outset of this, Visit Isle of Wight is we're a destination management organisation, and as such, primarily our role is marketing, and our role has been to promote the island for visitors to come. We've had to flip that straight on its head because marketing the island was something that stopped completely during this outbreak, and we've had to assume that role of a tourist board, and we've had to give lots more industry information, lots more keeping people up to date with the advice, with the government guidelines. And just prior to coming to do this interview, I've just been setting up a set of industry information sessions that we're holding over the next 3 days, where we'll go to each sector specifically and work with the council to give them the information about opening up safely. What do you need to do with your risk assessments? Where do you need to store them? And we're bringing in the relevant council officers we would be responsible for example, licensing, environmental health, the EHO scenario, so that we can give that information to the industries face to face. So it's been all changed for us here in certain respects.
And do you find now, though, that once this decision has been made, and hopefully there won't be a second wave, and the Isle of Wight already has a very low R rate, do you find that, that almost your role will be to sit back and just wait for the business to come in, or are you looking forward to, what sort of year is 2021 going to present, or is it still a little bit of a finger in the air exercise depending on what restrictions coronavirus might put upon us?
We've been during the lockdown, we've been marketing quite responsibly, in so much as we've been engaging through social media. That's been our primary sort of role. Moving on now, we've created some video work called "The Island Is Waiting," and we've released that to show people what's here in that responsible manner. And this week, with that announcement, we're cranking up our actual marketing. So run a network advertising, for example, is something that started at the beginning of this week, about people looking at the island as somewhere to come and discover. We're doing some various sort of website takeovers of some publications. That starts tomorrow. So if you want to go have a look at it, have a look at the Countryfile magazine's website. They're having that takeover, and everything on their homepages will be Isle of Wight. So we're now, we're cranking up for this summer to ensure that people are coming towards. Yesterday, my team were out, social distance, of course. My team were out with a film crew putting together a TV ad for ourselves, so that we can have that for this year, for the remainder of this year, and for next. So we've been pretty active. Okay.
Obviously, the island, amongst a lot of other UK destinations, will be, I would think, economically one of the worst hit areas because of the age of the population on the Isle of Wight, the dependence upon tourism, etc. Do you have views as to how the island should be marketed in not only 2021 but 2022 as well, that it should be slightly different? It's always had, I suppose, an image of a kiss me quick hat, bed and breakfast type of destination. I know you've probably tried to change that, but do you think that there will be a sea change coming for the Isle of Wight?
Kiss me quick destination, when I talk about the Isle of Wight, when I talk about marketing the Isle of Wight, everybody's Isle of Wight is different, yeah, and there is actually literally something for everyone to do here. So it can be anything from walking, cycling, from sitting on the beach, from actually looking at Osborne House is up the road from where I live, which is English Heritage #2 property in England. There literally is something. So marketing the island is all about getting that right message out for the right person at the right time, and it's going to be something very different. We're talking about it for next year as being your island paradise, close to home. So and literally, if I look out the window now, it is, it's 25 degrees, the sun's shining, and we have our own little microclimate here, which is amazing. So changing that round. So there is something for everyone. There will always be that need for that beach and seaside holiday from people who want to come and do that. And, we will market towards them for that particular thing. We will also market out to different ends of the spectrum. There's, some top quality chefs and food products and food producers on this island, which is, something for everyone again.
If you could wave a magic wand in terms of your product mix on the island, what would you add?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would add, I think I'd add probably somewhere in more a 5-star type of hotel onto the island. I'd ensure that it was linked in with various different environmental issues and being environmentally friendly, to ensure that we were getting lots of different products and different people here to the island. Because I don't know if you're aware, it's been our first birthday of being a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, which is where the built environment, the people, the overall nature, and all living together in harmony. And we're only one of 7 of these in England, which is pretty amazing.
Good. Well, Will, I wish you the very, very best of luck in your endeavours for the Isle of Wight, and certainly over the next 2 to 3 weeks, which will be, I'm sure you're going to be a very busy man in perhaps areas that you didn't think you would get into when you took the job on. And I also wish you the very best with your marketing for the future. It sounds very exciting, and go well.
Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. And if we can help anyone by being here in the island, if we can if travel agents want to come and talk to us about packages, anything like that, you just need to get in contact with us.
Lovely. Thanks, Will.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.